Olympics. And just
Mm-hmm.
kind of seeing that team that we have together, kind of a nucleus of a bit of unique people, really. It's kind of not what you would have anticipated the roster to look like, all very solid, great players, great athletes. But it is a kind of a unique, group of guys. So they kind of started out 0-2. They were able to get one, so now they're 1-2. I should
Mm-hmm.
so you know I just don't know. What do you kind of think about the team, and what do
Yeah.
you the issues are, and who you kind of afraid of looking forward as far as teams preventing them from getting a goal.
Yeah. No. No, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I think we're always used to just seeing like Team USA just dominate, especially like that year. I think it was like 2016, and it was like Kobe, Bron, Wade, Kyrie, KD. I mean, like, I think the White Howard's on that team, Chris Bosh, and they were just blowing everybody out of the water. I think, at first I was kind of critical of like Team USA and how they was losing some of these games, but then I had to like kind of do a little bit of research. And then I started to realize that, a lot of these international teams, they got a lot more guys in the league than they used to.
Yes.
So I think I saw that Nigeria has like 7 or 8 players that are on NBA rosters currently. Spain, 7 or 8 players. Australia has like 5 or 6 guys that, I mean, these guys, some of these guys are kind of like, 8th, 9th, 10th man, maybe not playing a ton, but some of these guys are also like NBA starters. So I'm not necessarily making any excuses for the NBA, Team USA, not the NBA, Team USA, but just as far as, one thing I did want to add as well for them is that they did just come off, a lot of those guys come off of a 72-game season, some of them made the playoffs, and they was already in the bubble, 2 months before this season started already. So I think, some of them guys probably do got some pretty tired, weary legs. So there's a lot of factors that are kind of coming into play, but it all comes down to it. It's just it's exhibition round. So, the games that really matter are going to be here in a couple of weeks, and they'll also be getting Devin Booker along with Chris Middleton added to the group as well as soon as they finish up this final series.
For sure. And I would say, that's kind of what happened to the team, and I think it was 04. They kind of approached it very, very casually,
Yeah.
and kind of got hit in the mouth by the world, I would say. And they didn't realize just how good the world had caught up. They were used to cruising and just getting it done very easily.
Yeah.
So I would say that's why they tried so hard to redeem themselves in 08, in 2012. Those are awesome teams. And I wouldn't say that this team is on the same caliber, but they are very formidable. I mean, you have some Hall of Fame players on here. You have the whole roster's full of all-stars. So I would say they should be able to get it done. You know how casually people can take it starting out, and just, like you said, coming off a long season. And, I got the share screen on here, and I'm just looking at some of the other teams. Like Argentina has, 4 or 5 NBA players on it. Australia is loaded with Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Aaron Baines, Della Josh Green. France has 5 or 6 players. Germany has 2, including Mo Wagner. Nigeria has like 8, like you said. So it's it's pretty impressive. And when
Spain's always been loaded.
Yep, Spain is completely loaded. Including Paul Gasol out there doing it at 41 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think Maurice Scola, we played them the other day too, and he's like 40 something out there.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize him because he
40.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him because he usually always had long hair. Now he got like the little buzz cut.
Sure. Yeah, no, I didn't either. Actually, he was one of them. I just remember when he hit the league, he was one of them guys that like, who is this guy? Like he kind of.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of think, some of those teams, some of the ones that I'm afraid of the most, I would say would be once the games get going, really probably be Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a pretty solid squad. Obviously, Nigeria has a pretty solid squad, and I also think you really can't count out Slovenia and Luka because they got a couple NBA players on that roster too. With him kind of putting being driving force.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of the 3 teams, along with America, obviously. I think are going to be in the mix at the end. But I think if you had to name a couple of teams that would prevent the U.S. from fully getting in, I would say that would be not getting in, but getting to the gold. that would
Yeah.
be the couple of teams I would be afraid of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one thing like the United States got to kind of be careful of is like, a lot of these guys, they're out there trying to, USA's always been the team to beat,
Yeah,
so they come with a little bit more motivation. You get then like some of those Team USA guys might be. I mean, you got a lot of guys that, and they have every right to, but like declining to go, just wanting to kind of hang back, rest, relax, which they totally, don't blame them. They, just got done playing like 72 games in like 4 or 5 months. So this is kind of where it's like USA needs to, try to kind of lock in and really, not take a night off or, take all these teams serious. Because one thing I did notice, they're not going to be getting the calls they're getting the NBA.
exactly.
The game is a little bit more physical over there.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure you can still take the ball off the rim.
Yep.
Yep, on offense and defense. So,
Yeah.
There's a little slightly variations to the game. But you mentioned, excuse me, I kind of drew a blank on that. But I just think it's going to be interesting to see them play, kind of play it out, and if they can kind of pull it together. Oh no, you mentioned teams wanting to pick up and play the U.S. and because the best of the best plays for the U.S. I looked up or I seen that we beat that Nigerian team that beat that 4 or 5 years ago by like 60 points.
Yeah.
So, when you consider that probably some of them guys were on that team just getting completely annihilated. They're going to come up for they're going to play a little harder than a group of guys who had maybe no association with the last win.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And I saw on Twitter a whole bunch like, these are exhibition games, but these games, this is like bragging rights. Like these games matter. Like, so that's, a lot of these teams can be out there very, very motivated to be the one to knock out, Team USA.
I believe it's for seeding. So,
Okay.
so you're going to have a tougher road playing, going 1 and 2. It's yeah. So,
Yeah.
no, it's kind of, just, and, finally, I would say, obviously we're both rooting for the U.S., but I think they have there are lots to prove still with this roster here. But
Yep.
Devin Booker, that'd definitely be a great addition. They do need an addition, playmaking. So
yeah. I think what they're missing right now, like a lot of what I watched a little bit of both of the games. I feel like he doesn't really like have like a floor general. Like Dame Lillard is a point guard, but he's kind of like like a score first kind of guy. You know what I mean? It's like I just feel like right now it's just kind of like, all right, like who gonna get who open, or like who gonna beat their man off the dribble. I don't really see a ton of like, the previous teams had LeBron, Chris Paul, like guys that was able to distribute, get other people involved, things along those lines. To where, at least what I've seen, I haven't watched like a completely full game, but I watched like 2 halves, and it was kind of like, all right, like now we in trouble, and Dame gonna fire off a 30-footer. We're gonna put KD on a block and see if we can get us a bucket, and it usually works. But like sometimes the game gets tighter. Like I said, like they're not gonna be getting them NBA calls, overseas. So they do gotta. Yeah, like I said, they got to lock in. Hope they'll gel together. I'm confident they'll gel together, and we'll see what they can do.